is Lisa Peterson. I'm an abundance and money coach. I am excited to share this Abundant Leader presentation with you today. So sit back, relax, take a nice deep breath, and settle in. I think a great way to start the process is to set your intentions for what you'd most like to get out of this experience. We're going to be talking about abundance, about leadership, about deep dive, looking inside to see what are the things that are standing in the way of you achieving abundance in your life. Wherever you want to shine the light of abundance, we're going to be talking about that. So the question I want to ask you to start is, what is the make or break question for leaders who still don't feel like they have it all? What's the biggest difference between leaders who feel abundance in all aspects of their life and those who remain stuck in patterns of scarcity? If you guessed having lots of money in the bank, you'd be wrong. If you guessed having massive numbers of clients and followers, you'd still be wrong. If you guessed having a family, perfect health, zero debt, you would still be oh so terribly wrong. Because while all of these things have their place, they're only part of the equation. And trying to tirelessly scale to the top of doing it all, let's be honest, is not necessarily going to give you a sense of abundance, but it is going to give you a sense of being completely worn out. So what is the answer to this question? The $1 million answer that took me ridiculously long time to figure out has to do with looking inside of yourself. So let me know if this sounds familiar to you. You've worked very hard to get where you want to go in your career, a solid education, you've worked your way up the ladder, you got promotions, probably increased your salary and your bonuses. But when it did not bring the happiness that you were seeking, perhaps you decided to leave your job and start a business. Now, being on your own is super exciting. It definitely didn't slow you down. In fact, now you may have found yourself working even harder than before. This time, it's probably more about you than ever before, proving that you can be successful on your own, no matter the toll it takes on your body, on your mind, and on your soul. So perhaps that's resonating with you. The problem is that no matter what you do, there is still this lingering feeling that you don't yet have the kind of deep soul level fulfillment that you've been seeking. It's improved, but it still isn't where you want it to be. Not for how long you've worked to get there. I understand, I've been there too. The feelings of wanting more and not getting what you ultimately wish for eventually wears down on your confidence. It pulls you down. It causes you to perhaps question everything, which, if you're like me, only causes you to work harder, perhaps with more chaos, because now fear is creeping in and taking over your thoughts. Working hard to keep the negative thoughts at bay could become a full-time job. Granted, it isn't always like this, but it's enough to have you worried about how much energy it's going to take to keep the momentum going. The most painful part isn't the fact that you are spending long days and nights working your butt off. It's the lingering thought that if you haven't figured it out by now, you might not ever figure it out. Thankfully, the $1 million answer and the actions you take once you know it are exactly what holds the key to creating the life you've always wanted to be living. So it's time to ask yourself, are you really, really, really ready to get out of this pattern of scarcity once and for all? Isn't it time you actually started to feel abundance? You can see the difference in the chaotic leader versus the abundant leader with this slide. To me, abundance means feeling safe, confident, worthy, well paid, and appreciated for what you do, trusting yourself and speaking your truth, and feeling like the abundant leader and CEO of your life and your business. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to tip back the scales in your favor, but first, a few things you've got to soak your brain's gray matter into. So, what do we mean by the abundant leader? I'm going to talk about this graph because it's been such a defining characteristic in my own journey to finding what it means to be this type of leader. I will admit that I have lived in every quadrant on this matrix. You see the top, it's fulfilled, to the bottom, unfulfilled. On the left, it's lack of material success, and on the right, material success. The lower left-hand quadrant is where I want to start because this is where I started my own journey. For the first 30 years of my life, I was very depressed. I really, really struggled with staying here in this life. There were so many struggles. My family struggled with emotional health. They struggled with financial health. We had a lot of stress, a lot of trauma. It was very, very difficult to grow up the way I did. And it transferred into feelings of being very unfulfilled and very financially strapped. Around the time of my teens, I decided that if I were to make a lot of money, that would solve all of my problems. And I became quite consumed with how could I make money? How could I make lots of it? Because I wanted to be happy, and I thought that was the way I could get there. So I moved to the right quadrant and spent my 20s, my teens, my 20s, and my early 30s focused on developing lots of material success, even becoming a millionaire by the time I was in my mid-30s. That was a product of this complete obsession with making lots of money. The problem is that as my life would unfold, I started to experience some very tragic circumstances that caused me to look inside and notice how I had never been happy and that money wasn't really going to bring me the happiness I sought. And I moved into the upper left quadrant, this focus on my own spiritual development, on my own personal fulfillment. As I spent time in this upper left quadrant and started to deconstruct my life, I started to notice that while it was really great to be very soulful and very present and very spiritually minded, I also noticed that in this human form, it's quite powerful to be able to embody the qualities of what happens when we're comfortable, when we don't have to worry about how we're going to pay the bills, when we're able to give freely of our time, of our money, of our resources. I started to notice that if I were to stay in this left quadrant and really kind of be in a way of renunciation, like I don't need any of this, I would be ultimately depriving myself. And I moved into the upper left quadrant and started to experience what does it mean to be an abundant leader, not just about the money, but about the inner fulfillment combined with this journey of material success, not being consumed by it, but understanding that this mission of being able to be in the world and not of it. Being in the world is this material element, not of it is this, beyond. That there was so much in that teaching that I realized that if the more I went in that direction, the more happiness, the more fulfillment, the more joy, the more sense of completeness occurred in my life. And that's what we're going to be talking more about today. I also noticed that a lot of this transformation of going from one quadrant to the other, especially moving into the abundant leadership, has to do with changing how you feel. noticing and getting super in touch with your feelings and understanding them and stopping the resistance to your feelings. That as you no longer resist your feelings and you allow them and you accept them, you can start to change your beliefs quite easily. When you change your beliefs, you start to change your actions and ultimately your results. And when your results change, you start to notice the changes in your life. And that is pretty much the pathway I've found for huge transformation that I think everyone can benefit from. So as you can see, we're moving into this upper right quadrant. How can we find a quick path so we go from wherever we're at now to what we ultimately want, which is this state of the combination of the two awarenesses and this making this complete picture, filling it out, filling out life in this very fulfilling way. So how do you go about making the shift? What I want to do now is talk about the 7 reasons why you're stuck in scarcity mindset. Maybe a few of them will apply, maybe all of them will apply, but I think what you'll find is as you hear these and you let them soak into you, you will see the potential to become a much more powerful leader in the world. So number 7, this sense of it's not possible to change, at least not for you. I realize that no one wants to admit that this is how they feel and how afraid they are to change. It's okay, we can be honest with ourselves here. Many of us reach that moment in time where we think to ourselves, if life was going to be any better, it would have happened by now. Feeling like somehow the gods may have left you out of the equation. First, I want to say you are not alone with this belief. It's true. We are all in this together, and change is 100% possible for you and anyone else who sets their intention towards change. You are wired with everything you need to reach your highest potential. You're more than capable of doing this, and all that you need is to develop the confidence that you can take care of yourself. You are able to be the person that you have always sought after, that you've always wanted to know. You are that person. And turning the tide has a lot to do with just standing in this potential. You can take control. You can make your life the way you want it to be. Reason number 6 that we stay stuck in these patterns of scarcity. You're afraid that you'll end up with less than you started with, or if you get this transformation, it won't stick. I get it. Trying something new is a bit of a gamble. It has to do with the fear that your desires aren't important, that you're not worthy to respond to your desires and wants, and that even if you do make some progress, you're going to lose traction. It's not going to stay with you. But secretly, you know that often when you have a goal of changing your life, there may also be a payback for staying where you are now. So listen to this closely. I guide my clients through this all the time. It may sound like this. I get to blame other people when I am stuck, and that makes me feel better. I get emotional support when I'm stuck, and that makes me feel better. Think about what you might lose if you were to get unstuck and notice what you're focused on with all of it. Notice how this feels now and ask yourself, is this how you want to feel for the rest of your life? In order to go somewhere new, you have to understand where you are now, how you want to go about your future. You need to look at your fears. This is when fears of success or fears of failure come up. Both of these keep you living in scarcity, so it's good to understand what has you frozen so that you can choose what to do next. To shift this way of being requires you to step into valuing yourself and your needs so that you can respond to them and create what you most desire. Reason number 5, you're overwhelmed enough as it is, and it will take too much time to change. First things first, you did not choose to be this damn overwhelmed and busy all the time. In fact, when you first started out, you were committed to keeping things simple and avoiding this, like, shiny object syndrome. But after a while, as the momentum ebbed and flowed, you started to notice that the shiny objects got shinier. So you've created a busy life, so have most of us. As long as you keep the perspective about the fact that the way you spend your time is filled with choices that you're making along the way, you're going to gain a great deal more empowerment about time. Time is really something that is within your control, but most of us don't realize just how much control we have. So it's about feeling and evidencing your own power in the world, taking action and creating what you want. Let's say you need 30 minutes a day. So this is pretty simple. You don't, 30 minutes to change your life. All you need to do is wake up 10 minutes earlier, go to bed 10 minutes later, and stop surfing the internet for about 10 minutes a day. Boom, you've got 30 minutes. It really is that simple. It's a matter of just seeing the choice in all of it. So reason number 4 that we remain stuck in scarcity. Even if you change, you're surrounded by people who just don't get it. Yep, we all have them lurking in our life somewhere. Those people who think that your self-improvement is just an indulgence, it's kind of hocus pocus, they don't believe it. And all the while, you feel like it would be incredible if they could just understand and support you. The challenge is that when we wait for other people to get it, we are actually holding ourselves back. And this has a lot to do with the relationships that we are not just living in, but fostering. Many times, the only way that change is going to happen in our relationships is when we change first. When we change and we open up into more abundance in our lives, that is what's going to have a reflective effect, a ripple effect in the relationships that you have in your life. This is around the heart, the giving, the receiving, the giving to ourselves, giving to others, receiving from ourselves, receiving from others. There's so much goodness in our heart. And when we tap into it and we open up the possibilities for ourselves, we're also opening up the possibilities for others. But it starts with you, not with anyone else. Reason number 3, we're afraid that the effort required to change our mindset is not going to be worth the reward. Let's face it, unless we think we're going to get a big reward, it's hard to gain the momentum to get the energy started. When we're dealing with something new, like the idea of having more abundance in our lives, it can be difficult if we're not familiar with that to get excited about it because we just don't know what it's going to be like. We don't know how it's going to play out. So believing that something is going to be worth the effort comes down to internal motivation more than anything. Trust and feeling confidence in your own skin and your own ability to make it stick. To have the reward be something that is so perfect for you. You're the one who controls that. We have to be able to get out of the seat of self-doubt and believe that it will be worth it because that is what we're going to make of it. Trusting in your own ability to make the most of your life is what's going to help you through this limiting belief. Number 2, the process of changing your mindset is going to be too daunting, painful, and disruptive. I hear this a lot. Fear arises when you are thinking about looking at your mind and the negative stuff that is going on in your life. I notice how debilitating this is. It's filled with scarcity and it's super common. This has everything to do with how you do the changing. In the past, you likely looked at yourself through the lens of the inner critic rather than the inner lover. meaning you were so busy judging yourself. And I did this for many, many years. It's like I looked inside, I got introspective, and what I found wasn't pretty. So I just criticized it and tried to push it away. I tried to make it go away as best as I could with all kinds of mind control. But the problem is that whenever we're approaching our own evolution from a place of judgment, it ultimately takes us back to fear. It does not solve the problem. We need to learn how to dive into the process of dropping away judgment and seeing ourselves as enough again and again and again. This has a lot to do with who we hang out with, who we surround ourselves with. It's about the community of people that are supporting us. If we surround ourselves with people who are telling themselves deep inside, I am not enough, that is contagious. If we surround ourselves by people who are saying, I may not totally be there yet, but I am so ready to be enough, or perhaps even feeling I am enough, it is infectious. It helps us to make our own transformation easier. To change the mindset from scarcity to abundance, you need to know how to approach the process from the presence of love and enoughness rather than fear. By engaging with this part of you, you open up the door to new possibility. Reason number one, we've reached the number one reason people remain stuck in scarcity, and it comes down to feeling good enough to have what you most want. This is a quirk for many people, more than I think most realize. Not feeling worthy of all that you want makes it tough to lead others, because you can't teach others how to achieve this, which is what everyone is wanting, by the way, if you don't have it yourself. So the more time and energy you focus on your own worthiness from this very inside out perspective rather than outside in, when we're looking for the worthiness to be validated by outside things, the problem is when those go away, we no longer feel worthy. Whereas when we learn how to procure it and develop it from the inside out, it stays with us for the rest of our lives. This has a lot to do with being able to rewire your beliefs so that you can create the happiness that you're ultimately seeking. Worthiness, acceptance, allowance, abundance. So becoming an abundant leader is easier and more critical than ever before. So what's the solution? As I mentioned earlier when I showed you the graph, I've been on a mission to bring these two worlds together of money and inner fulfillment, a search to feel the transcendence through the advancement of spirit, while at the same time engaged in the traditional aspects of life. You know, raising kids, making money, developing career, managing, marriage or partnership, like so many aspects. And I know that these two worlds could not be kept separate forever. But I really had one of these epiphany moments when I started to notice what I want to share with you today. I realized that there was a potential to merge together all I knew about the psychology of money into the ancient psychology of the chakras, and start to create a map of understanding for people to create abundance in their life. It felt like finding the Holy Grail in that moment, and I'm not exaggerating. Taking a complex problem of scarcity and financial troubles and using this very feeling-based system, the psychology of the chakras, to help people take a closer look inside of where their problems are and use it to heal themselves of their pain through mindfulness practices, through understanding, through solidification of self-understanding. And what I found now is that using this practice over the past 2 years, more than 700 people have participated in it, is that miracles happen when we tap into these energy centers and unlock their hidden powers of clarity, love, trust, understanding, knowingness, and enoughness. So let me show you how this works. I think the best way I can do this is through meditation. So let's go ahead. If you're in a place that's safe to do so, just close your eyes and relax into the support of the chair, the ground beneath you. As you breathe in and breathe out, just feel your body relaxing, slowly softening. As you breathe in, feeling a sense of relaxation. And as you breathe out, a sense of release. Taking a moment to have your feet get grounded, having a sense of connecting into Mother Earth. You might even imagine roots appear coming out of your feet and going into the earth, allowing you to be like a plant where you mix with the soil and the rocks and the water and feel really nice and solid in this connection of groundedness. Breathing into it. Noticing yourself falling in to you. Letting go of all your concerns and worries. No need to control, almost like you're hitting the pause button of you. Feeling the flow of energy within your body. Noticing its intensity. Perhaps it starts at your toes and moves its way up. Your ankle, your calves, your thighs, and into the root of your body. The first chakra. Noticing it's this red spinning disc of light in the lower base of your spine, swirling and representing security, safety, a sense of solid support. Moving up into the belly, below the belly button, the sacral area, the second chakra, this orange spinning disc of light that taps into your creative power, this sense of being worthy to follow your desires, to follow your needs and wishes, this sense of I am worthy. Moving into the solar plexus, this yellow spinning disc of fiery substance, representing the power, the ability to be taking action, be motivated, follow through. Feeling into your own internal motivation as you tap into this energy source. Moving up into the heart chakra, this area of love, unconditional love, green swirling power of loving, giving, and receiving energy. Forgiveness, gratitude, releasing all that we hold on to that stands in the way of our relationships being ideal. Noticing how money plays into that area of your heart. Feeling the love and the support and the receiving. Moving into the base of the throat, a beautiful sky blue color. This area representing your trust, your truth, feeling a sense of confidence at this very high level of being. The ability to communicate, to hear your truth, to speak your truth, to be one with your truth, and having such a sense of confidence around that. Moving up into the brow area, it's indigo in color, this swirling energy that connects you into this deep knowingness, seeing beyond, connecting into guides, angels, your highest self. So much wisdom, so much enoughness. This is where enoughness really solidifies. I am enough. Moving into the crown chakra, this lavender, beautiful light-filled experience spinning right outside the head above the crown, representing your connection to the divine, to all that you wish for, to a sense of abundance, allowance, acceptance, flowing, supportive, loving energy coming through the crown, going all the way down to the root, and then moving back up again and again, moving this beautiful energy, this manifestation of all that you wish for, this creator energy that says that I can move from the earth into creation. Noticing the flow of this energy can come from the top down, it can rise from the bottom up, it can come from both places, and it mixes at the heart. Feeling a sense of I am enough, I am abundance, I am love. Namaste. And you can relax your concentration. This is a little example of what we were moving through in the meditation. So what we're going to be talking about is this meditation practice that we just started, the Infinite Abundance Mindfulness Practices. And just mentioning to you that just like the meditation, just like the belief busting, what we're learning how to do with these practices is to release the fear that we have brought on by instabilities, financial and otherwise, shaking off disappointments from the past, shifting from being fearful to feeling worthy, creating a practical plan for improving your bottom line, creating an environment that draws money towards you and amplifies opportunity by increasing your intuitive abilities. So all of these outcomes are within your reach. Whether you're starting from scratch or you're hitting the reset button for the 10th time, they do depend on you following a straight line, step-by-step approach, one that leverages only the most proven and fresh for the consciousness within the experiences of 2018 mindfulness practices, while dodging the things that could distract you from reaching your goals. But first, I want to touch on who am I to be sharing all of this with you. Here I am with my family in Yosemite. Been married to my college sweetheart for 28 years. My two children. Here's my family of practitioners and people that come and work with me as a coach and in the programs here in Sedona, Arizona, where I live. I have been focused with my business on abundance, on money, on helping entrepreneurs create lives filled with greater abundance. I also spent my entire career working in finance, in banking, in credit cards, in mortgage, insurance, in financial advising, you name it. I feel like I've had that job. It was really a crash course that only took me about 25 years to master. All the understanding of what it takes to manage money effectively was something I was very, very consumed by. And it helped me, like I mentioned earlier, to create wealth in my life, having come from a great, financial struggle in my childhood. At the same time that I was learning all about money, I was also on this very intense spiritual journey that started in 1999. I faced a horrifying family tragedy that caused me to break down on the inside, fall apart, realize that I had never been happy, that I needed, if I was going to continue to live my life, here I was 32 at the time, if I was going to continue to live my life, I needed to find some new ways of being. And that turned me towards mindfulness practices, Buddhism, and other teachings to heal and transform. I started teaching meditation in 2013. And then in the period of 2004 to 2007, unfortunately, my mom, at a very young age, contracted ovarian cancer. My grandmother was at the end of her life, and I helped both of them transition out of this lifetime. In the course of these deep spiritual practices, I started to radically change my whole entire being. But I still had work to do. I still was living sort of two parallel lives. I had my financial career and my spiritual practice and my teachings. And in 2013, I again had a horrifying tragedy, a shooting in my doctor's office that I was present at. When I survived the situation, I made a decision that that getting out of this situation alive meant that I was being given another chance to redo my life. And I decided to leave my financial career and start Wealth Clinic. These pictures are kind of fun because 2011, when I was still a financial advisor, you can see what I look like. And this other picture gives you a sense of just the huge transformation that I've been going through in learning how to transform from a state of fear into a state of love. Like over and over again, that is the practice that I have been mastering. Learning how to allow the feeling to lead the way instead of the mind has also been a huge transformative experience. Too often we're trying to solve the problem of unhappiness, but tension, chaos, anxiety, and scarcity aren't really problems to be solved. I learned how to change this pattern from something that didn't work to something that did, and this is what I teach people how to do for themselves. So I'd like to switch gears and just talk a little bit about people who have gone through infinite abundance. One of my clients, Monica Louie, is a Facebook coach, and she was sharing that infinite abundance helped her to realize how lack of confidence was keeping her from her biggest goals, achieving them. And that when she dove into the meditation, she started to notice how she was holding herself back. And then she went on to share that when she did infinite abundance, these were some of her most successful financial months ever. And I see this over and over again, where people do the work, they let the blocks go, and they start to make more money in their business because they're clearing out so much stuff that has held them back and kept them small and kept them from making what they ultimately knew they wanted to make. It also comes down to being able to pinpoint the issues that you are struggling with. And this is something that I love to do for people in the Infinite Abundance program, is they'll serve up what their beliefs are, what their challenges are. And I'm very good at honing in on what is the thing that's ready to be let go of. What's the belief that's keeping you stuck, and giving instructions on what practices to do to move out of those beliefs. So introducing infinite abundance. It's for anyone who stands to benefit with living with greater peace, confidence, and abundance. It's also a way, when you think back of those 7 areas of scarcity that are very closely tied to the chakra system, that if you want to have those new beliefs stick, and you want to really undergo the transformation that you have to do with all 7 of those, infinite abundance is created to gently and easily move you through the process of having those new beliefs stay with you. So how it works is quite simple. It's divided into 1 month of meditations. Week 1 is clearing the way to receive abundance. Number 2 week is creating a safe space for your soul and your money. Week 3 is awakening to the expansion, the potential of who you are. Week 4 is about love, money, and creating what you most want. And then week 5, summary of where you've come from, where you are now, and what comes next. There are 5 ways that infinite abundance will cause you to wake up feeling excited about your life. There's the modules that we just talked about. There's also daily meditations that take you through a very simple process of clearing your chakras, and you get those every single day. You also get journaling exercises that inspire you to take stock of your life and really take things to a new level by pulling out whatever's holding you back through your awareness. So as you pay more attention to it, you notice that you just don't want to live this way anymore. And you start to naturally let those beliefs go. It also helps that we have group support and masterminding going throughout the program. We are focused on making sure that you are very, very well supported. There's a community of practitioners that are there to help share their stories alongside of what you're sharing, so that everyone is learning and growing together. And it's funny, I found some data that said that online groups actually participating in, this new economy, online groups have been proven to increase your sense of self-worth. So the more you share, the more engaged you are, the better you feel about yourself. There's also exercises and like more than 20 hours of various workshops, coaching sessions, handouts, cheat sheets. Here's some examples of the exercises, the worksheets, the templates that you can surround yourself with as you go through the process. Again, all roads leading to the abundant leadership. There are also some advanced workshops that you have access to that I really think are best after you do the first month of activity. If you want to go deeper, you can look into your money shadows. You can look into a practice that I do with all of my clients, and I'm teaching you how to do this for yourself, how to have your own money breakthroughs. And you can also, if you're a coach, you may find that you like to use this process with others, in your clients, with other friends and family. So you're probably wondering, what's this going to cost me? The combined value of the program is over $1,300, but what I've done is create a program. Instead of paying $247, which is the regular price, for a limited time, as part of watching this video, you have access to purchase it for $97. So taking advantage of this opportunity, you can start that right away. See in the notes below this video the button that you can push to get access to Infinite Abundance for $97. But I'll go ahead and share some more. Here are some experiences that people have had when going through Infinite Abundance just recently, the transformation that they've been having, the this surprise, because I think that it's a short program. I think people are often surprised that you could have so much happen in such a short amount of time. On day 4 of the Infinite Abundance Project, I ask people to write to me and tell me what's happening for them. And I continue to be blown away at just within 4 days, the shifts that are taking place, the experiences people are sharing with me that are happening in their life. And they're so excited that it's already making such an impact for them. I also don't want you to have to decide today. There's a 14-day, try it. If it doesn't fit for you, if it's not giving you the breakthroughs that you had hoped for, you can always come back to me within 14 days and ask for a complete refund. So here's what will happen next. You'll go to wealthclinic.com/infinite abundance, fill in your information to secure your spot. Watch the welcome video. As soon as you sign up, you'll get a video link. You'll have your login credentials for the customer center where you get access to everything right away. You can try this infinite abundant energy meditation. Introduce yourself by joining the Facebook group. Check out the meditations and start to receive the emails at whatever stage you want. You may sign up and just get access and not get the daily emails. You get to push a button and decide when those emails start. So even if you don't want to start them right away, that's within your control to monitor when am I going to have a good time to start and be able to start doing the meditations, whether they be in the morning or in the evening. So now I just want you to take a moment to imagine what it would feel like a month from now if you were feeling so much clarity about your purpose, about where you're headed with your business, with your personal life, with your own health, and especially with your money. So much clarity about who you are, where you're going, and what you're wanting to create through all of your endeavors. That is exactly what you're going to be able to achieve by participating in Infinite Abundance. It really is amazing because as you shift, your whole world starts to shift with you. It creates a ripple of impact throughout your own microcosm, right? Your community, your friends, your family, your clients, and beyond. And what I've seen is with people participating in this program from around the world, we start to create this incredible shift, one person at a time. And so you may be having questions. Feel free to write to me, to ask me your questions. I have some that have come up in the past that I'll just take you through. I want to do this, but I'm already spread way too thin. You're curious about how much time it's going to take, and I hear you. I've gone to bed and woken up, cuddled, to my iPhone, felt like adding one more thing to a never-ending list would wreck the human Tetris game that we've voluntarily subscribed to. But here's the thing. Taking time to train your mind can free you up from a never-ending time crunch. And it's going to take dedication of your time and your commitment to make the change. It's going to be, on average, about 30 minutes a day for the next month. It is impossible to make the kinds of changes that I'm talking about will happen as a result of you participating in Infinite Abundance without making that commitment. Now, the cool thing is that you can start this. And if you fall off the wagon, which many people do, you can do it again and again and again. In fact, I found that most people have the best success on the 3rd round of it. First time, they're trying it out, they're seeing what works, and they have some epiphanies, but then they go back and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this again. And when they're in their 2nd and 3rd time, they're like starting to notice that new habits are arising, because it takes typically 60 days to get a habit set in formation. So you have the ability to turn these meditations on and do the cycle again and again. And that's really how it's designed to be done. So I understand your concern. I know that it's possible to make changes. And yes, it is going to take some time. The next thing is, you've tried many different things before, nothing is stuck. How is this different than perhaps even something like law of attraction? So far, I have not been able to create a meditation practice solely by a book or even by an app. My meditation practice has come by doing, following teachers, understanding the mental component of what they're teaching, and then diving into the meditations again and again. I like depth. I like massive transformation. Some people don't like those two things. They want to just pop in, listen to their, app on their phone and just feel relaxed. And there's nothing wrong with that. This program is for people who are really ready to make big shifts in their lives, in addition to having a regular mindfulness practice, training the mind, but also training the awareness of who you are and how you're showing up in the world. So I have not had success with books for meditation practices like what we're doing here. I will also say that I don't teach about law of attraction principles. Not that I don't believe in them. I just feel like the mind wants to grab a hold of them. And there's so many stories and beliefs about it that it isn't helpful to people at this stage in the game. So I am more about clearing things out so that your natural state of abundance can shine through, that it's your natural birthright. All we're doing is getting the clouds out of the sky. And so it's quite simple. You don't have to say gazillions of affirmations. It's just continuously realizing that there are things, there are stories, there are beliefs that are ready to be released. And in its place is already waiting this abundance, beauty, joy, and compassion and love. So finally, can you do this? 150%, I know that you can do this. The spectrum of people who have participated in infinite abundance is vast from all backgrounds. And the common denominator is transformation. If you commit your time and energy, you will feel substantially better than you feel today. I know that because I get these emails from all over the world telling me this is what's happened for people. And they stay with it for years and continue to do this practice because of how powerful it's been. It is my primary practice, even though I've been meditating for nearly 20 years now. I do this every single day. So you're ready to become the powerful and abundant leader that you are and get the most out of life if you are aware of your prosperity potential. You're just getting started with meditation, or you've been trying it for a while, but nothing has stuck, or you're really ready to intensify, to deepen your practice. You have no problem investing a couple hours a week. You're excited to try infinite abundance, and you're feeling a wave of renewed optimism because of this conversation. And you're liking the idea that you can get out of it if it doesn't work for you. You need infinite abundance if you're an entrepreneur, executive founder whose primary responsibility is leading the growth of yourself and others. You're at a crossroad and something positively has to change about where you are, how you are feeling about your life, your business, your career. You're feeling like you're not reaching your potential within your relationships, within your money, even when it comes to your health. You've got your sights on your own self-realization and the growth and pursuit of new opportunities. And finally, I am so ready to partner with you to make this the most rewarding and impactful 4 weeks you've experienced all year, perhaps in many years, perhaps in your whole life. I welcome you to be a part of Infinite Abundance. And I'm so happy that you listened to this workshop. You can find out more and you can register at wealthclinic.com/infinite abundance. And so I'm so happy that you were able to participate today. I really hope that you take me up on this incredible opportunity to engage in my life's work for $97. It is such a small investment for the huge wins that you are going to experience as a result of being a part of the program. It brings me great joy to share this with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reply to my emails, lpeterson@wealthclinic.com. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you have anything that's still outstanding, send it my way. I'll get right back to you. Namaste.